Hello and welcome to your first session of your fundamentals training, fundamentals 1 and 2. My name's Sue. I'm one of the learning consultants here for APAC, and I'll be taking you through fundamentals 1 today. And my colleague Connie is going to take you through the second part tomorrow. And what we do in fundamentals 1 is we give you an overview of all the sort of basics of getting to know Canvas. And then we start going into actually constructing a course and building a couple of things which Connie will flesh out in a little bit more depth when she starts her training tomorrow, same sort of time. So it's essentially designed, this training is designed for your sort of champion instructors, content creators, as well as anyone involved rolling out Canvas internally. This training is going to comprise of, like, as I said, couple of the key features, functions, and then the purpose is essentially so that you can, at the end of the training, start delivering your first courses in Canvas. We will be doing a little bit of interactivity with some polls along the way to break up the time, and I'm hoping to last for about an hour and a half. It should only last for about an hour and a half, although we have a 2-hour window, so feel free to stay on the line if you have additional questions. Okay, now, first of all, if you haven't done so already, I put a link in the chat just to log your attendance. I will remind you again at the end, but if you can just log your attendance, that would be really helpful for us. And I'll just put on screen the agenda of what we're going to do today. So we obviously start by that really basic getting to know your way around Canvas. So we're going to have a look at the dashboard, the user settings and how to change some of those, how to find help, that sort of thing. And then we're going to come into this avenue of communication tools. We're going to look at conversations within Canvas and then jump over to the calendar. And then we're going to actually construct a course together. So you'll watch me build the shell of a course and start flesh out some of the items in that course. So we're going to build modules, go into course settings and what you can do there. I'm then going to pop us up to announcements and making an announcement, and then we'll finish over here with course analytics. So that's the kind of way that we're going to go about what we're up to today. I'll flip between this screen and my demo screen, and by all means, if you have any questions or comments as we go, feel free to just drop them into the chat. Okay, let me take you over then. We're going to start with the dashboard, this top section here. And so let me just take you over into your Canvas dashboard. Now, for many of you, this will not be unfamiliar. I hope you might have had a chance to log in already. And so you probably don't see such a fleshed out dashboard as I've got here. You might only have 1 or 2 courses displaying on there at the moment, or you might have no courses displaying on there, maybe just your sandbox essentially. So no matter how it looks like, the dashboards should still have an air of familiarity. The dashboard is the first screen that anyone will see when they land in Canvas. It's got dynamic features, so it's dynamically populated, and the updates are done automatically. It's a good landing page for beginners to sort of arrive at if they get lost. So just like imagine it is like that home page of Canvas is the sort of dashboard environment. I'm just going to talk you through different aspects of the dashboard, and just this is sort of purely kind of talking you through, and then we'll click on a few different things and do some different activities. Down the left-hand side of your dashboard, so all this row here, this is what we call the global navigation bar or the global navigation menu. I'm just going to go through each item individually. Up here, you might see some customization, a different logo for your institution as you customize your Canvas account. Here is your account where that's your sort of personal account within Canvas, and we'll go there today to change a few settings and do a couple of things. This is the admin shield, which some of you may see and some of you won't see. So the majority of, say, your teachers or instructors in your course won't have an admin shield here. It's only really for those who are actually account admins. And so depending on the roles that you give people within your institution will depend on whether or not they see that. The dashboard, as I said, we are clicked in at the moment, so you can see that it's highlighted slightly differently, and that's where we are at the moment. Your dashboard features we'll go through in a second when we finish this menu list. If I click on courses, I will see all the courses that I'm enrolled in a different view to obviously the dashboard. So they're separated now into published courses and down the bottom into unpublished courses. I have a lot of courses at the moment, and if I was to click on all courses, I'll also see more of which courses I'm part of, but aren't necessarily showing in that list. So let me just scroll down here, and I just want to show you a couple of things to do with courses. Here's my sort of current enrollments and my past enrollments at the bottom. So if you have students who, are going through with you each year on year, they'll be able to view their past enrollments when they're concluded down here. And these are the current enrollments that I'm part of. I just want to draw your attention to this star here. And if I hover over that, you can see that if I click the star, it's going to remove it from the courses menu, and it's also going to remove it from my dashboard. It doesn't mean I've left the course, it just means that it's not showing on my dashboard. So this is a way of favoriting your courses. So from your course list, if you are to actually click on these ones, they will appear in your dashboard for you. Now, what you might find if students are concerned that they've lost some sort of course, please get them to have a look in their course list to see for any reason if it's dropped off their favorites. And if so, that's why it's not appearing in their dashboard. The next one is course calendar, or the Canvas calendar. And I'll show you that in more depth. We're going to go a really good walkthrough through all of that today. So that's what it looks like briefly, and we'll go through a good walkthrough of it shortly. Your inbox again, this is where you can do that Canvas messaging, communicating with each other, and we're going to go through that again in more depth in a moment. This is a new feature, history, and if you were to press on your history bar, this is a great way of actually just going exactly back to where you were. So you can see that an hour ago I was in various different courses, and if I wanted to go back to where I was, I could just press that, and find where I was and what I was doing in different ways, and it'll take me directly to the page or to the item that I was working on. And that's a great feature because that's a lot more helpful than sort of clicking in and out of all the different courses that you were involved in. These last two, these two here, nearly last two, we're not going to go into depth today. One is the Canvas Commons, and you can click to that and have a view of the Canvas Commons yourself. This is essentially a common area where teachers, instructors, admins publish work to the Commons that other people can use. So the Canvas Commons is a way of searching material that other teachers, instructors, etc. have made. You can go there, for example, and find things to stop you having to make everything yourself. So my background is high school English teaching. So if I was, for example, to go there and say, look for a quiz on literary techniques or verbs or something like that, I'd probably be able to find something that someone else has created, bring that into my course. I can still edit it or change it, adapt it if I want to, but it's just a way of not always having to create all the material yourself. So do explore Commons and what's there to be offered. The next one is Canvas Studio. If you've purchased Studio, you'll be trained on it during Thursday, and I'll be doing that training, so I'll meet a few of you again then. But we won't go into much more depth there. That is just for those who haven't purchased Studio, just to let you know, it is our kind of inbuilt video repository, video editing, active video watching suite. The one I do want to pause on is this Get Help button. And when I press Get Help, it's going to launch for me this Get Help tray that comes out. This is fully customizable, as you've seen in your admin training. And so you can obviously change some of the text here, change some of the things here for your institution. And what I want to draw your attention to here for your different staff is that when you press search the Canvas guides, that is going to take you to our Canvas community. And when you're there, this is a great point for them to actually be able to find information and things that can help them. So let me just show you a quick demo of that now. When you press on guides, you're going to see all the guides by the different products. And so, if it's if it's a question about Studio, you would go to a Studio guide. If it's a question about Canvas, we would press into here to get to the Canvas guides. And here you can see guides broken down into different areas. So we have, get started, we have student guides, we have parent guides, but then we have individual documentation, which you can search. So let's just have a look at maybe favoriting courses. Favorite courses on the dashboard, and see what that's going to put up for us. Viewing Canvas courses in the dashboard. And what you'll see here, when you find the one that you want, obviously the text will search for you to try and find the one that you want. What you'll see here is a typical Canvas guide. So the guides are essentially image heavy and text light. So here's the image of what to do. Here's, what I basically just walked you through in the training a moment ago. And here's the different ways in which, things can be customized or changed. So just to give you a heads up, that's how to search the guides. And if you have, it's really worth pointing out to anyone in your teams, the wealth of information that is available in the Canvas guides under Getting Help. And let's go back to our own dashboard now. And now that we've done that list of the global navigation menu, I want to take you now back to the dashboard, and we'll sort of walk across the screen a little bit to give you an sense of the dashboard. So in the middle of the, I'm just going to mute whoever's come off mute, just for the training recording. It's a lot easier. If you can just see whether you're on mute, that would be great. Otherwise, it's going to pick it up on the recording. Thank you. In the middle of the screen, you're going to see the Canvas the Canvas course tiles, sorry, in the middle of the dashboard. And what you have here are your courses that you're enrolled into, either as a teacher or a student, or whichever other role you might be populating in those courses. Again, this part is dynamically populated. So if you get a new enrollment, it will appear here. Unless obviously you need to favorite it in the way that I just showed you. As you go through, so it doesn't necessarily differentiate the courses that you're a student in to those that you're a teacher in. So you might have some professional learning courses, for example, appear on here, and in those courses you're a student, and in the other courses you're a teacher. There are a few things that you can do with your course tiles here. So they can be customized, and we can update a couple of things about them. So let's just take this course here that's just plain purple. If I was to say, for example, click on the 3 dots there, I'd be able to change the nickname of the course if I wanted to. I'd be able to move the course higher up my list as well. So if I wanted to move it up, down, or favorite it to take it off my dashboard, I'm able to do those things there. And if I wanted to give it, say, a different color, or put in any HTML coding for colors or anything there, I can just vary it in that way. I've seen this used a lot by, say, teachers in high school, where they might have a range of sort of classes in year 7, 8, 9, and using the similar color or the same color for all their year 7 classes, all their year 8 classes, that kind of thing. Or equally for instructors who have different departments they're working for, they might be able to choose a different color for, like say their English department, or for their maths department, whatever they're involved in, pick different colors to display courses on the dashboard for ease of using. Now this is individual to my dashboard, so just because I've changed that color doesn't mean it's changed for somebody else. It doesn't change it within the body of the course. You can see that they're just overlays. So for example, if we take this course here, Assessing Student Learning, that picture is part of the course and will appear on everybody's dashboard. But if I was to change the overlay and change it, say, to purple, it's not going to take the picture away because the picture is set in the course, but it's going to change the color of my overlay for it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And we're going to move across now from course tiles into our to-do list and coming up list. So journey with me over to the far right of the page. Here we're going to see the to-do list. So in the to-do list are the things that you as an instructor need to do. And as you can see, my to-do list is quite large at the moment. So I've got some things here. I've got 37 more action points to do here. And if I was to press on that, it's just going to extend the list down. And these are all things to do with grading particular aspects of work. So that's my that's where it will show me what to do, my to-do list. And then coming up, if, for example, I have things coming up on my calendar, which are within the next 7 days, so anything to do with, say, an excursion, an incursion, assessment due dates, events, anything like that would come up here if it is me, if it's within the next 7 days and I'm involved in it. What your average user won't be able to see are these tiles here, or the start a new course tile. That is an admin only feature. So don't worry if you're not seeing that on your own screen. Okay, that takes us to the end of the dashboard section. And just whilst we're back on this agenda, I just want to point out a few things to do with this asterisk. So if you just cast your eyes across the screen, you'll see that you have basically a asterisk for getting help there, an asterisk about displaying on your homepage, and a few more down here, building a module, course image, course navigation, and course homepage. These are things that are asterisks because they are things that you might like to talk about at an institutionalized level. So for example, how you customize the getting help menu, that's something that you would want to talk about as your group of admins or as your Canvas project team, that sort of thing, and people leading that out, and have an answer for your general users. Same with these other things. I'll talk to you about them as we get there, but the asterisk just basically means things that are worthwhile you as the Canvas team within your institutions essentially talking to the whole staff about and working out your direction of how you want to go with them. Okay, now we're going to go across to user settings, and to do that we're going to go back to my dashboard, and we're going to go up to account there. So let's just press on account, and for account there you'll see now that this tray opens. And when we look down the tray, there are a variety of things that we're going to click on today, and some that we're not going to use. Here's something that you might want to turn on if you've got any users needing that high contrast user experience. So that's something that you might want to turn on. Here's where I can actually do some editing to my photo, details about me, that sort of thing. Here's also where I can view any content that's been shared with me. And global announcements, that sort of thing. I can view them when they're published. For now, we're going to click on profile picture, and I'll just talk to you about the reasons why we have essentially individual user settings. It's nice, obviously, when you've got a system like Canvas to feel like you have a little element of personalization within the system, and the user settings allow you to do that. So these can be updated obviously by user. Every user can configure them themselves. And within here, you can actually turn some things on or off depending on your particular preferences. So let's just have a look at what we can do. First of all, I've pressed on profile, and you can see here that I've just got a very basic profile. If I want to edit that, I'll come over to the right-hand side of my screen and click on the 3 buttons and go edit profile. What I can do here is now add in, maybe a more detailed biography of myself. I could add in, I could change my profile picture if I wanted to. So if I click there, I can actually upload a new picture by pressing choose a picture, and it will open up my own desktop tray. Or I could actually take a picture using my built-in webcam and upload that picture too. So that's a way of actually being able to customize this view. You might have people put things like avatars in there. They might put photos. Otherwise it would just be left as their initials. Similarly, so if I wanted to add in a bio, I could put that in here. And then, for example, maybe at higher ed, you might have professors, academics who want to link to like articles they've published, research they've done, projects they're working on. So here they could actually put the title, put some links in, and that will take you to obviously different things that person has been working on. So if I was to build that down, I can press add another link to flesh out my own profile. I'm just going to save that for now, and then we're going to go from there over across to our settings. So 4th one down, settings. and I'm just going to log back in. For security purposes, it's just going to try that when I've been logged in for a while. And there's a few things that I want to show you over here. So first of all, we have all the settings here. Some of them cannot be altered. So if I was to press edit settings in the right hand side, you'll see things that can't be altered because these have generally come in from the CSV import from your sort of student information system, or however you're getting your data into Canvas. And so these things can't be changed. You'll see a list of things that are approved on your account, some feature options, etc. And some of these can and cannot be changed depending on the user. Here you'll be able to, update the settings if you've changed or put anything there that you needed to. And I'll just take you over to, because I know we've got some higher ed people on the call. This aspect over here, ways to contact. This doesn't actually mean ways for the students to contact you. It actually means ways for Canvas to contact you. So by default, that will have the email address that you have, your institution has, that it's provided, probably your institution email. However, if you wanted to add in more email addresses, as in maybe you want, your home email or a different email account, you can actually add in a few other contact methods by pressing ways to contact there. And you can put in another email address if you needed to, if you wanted, contact in different areas. There is an option for text here, but that's being sort of deprecated, so I wouldn't worry about that. But just know that if you do want to have things sort of sent to your mobile phone, so that your phone, for example, pings if there is, like an assignment submitted or some chatter or discussion going on, then the best way to do that is to download the Canvas for Teacher app. And when you download that app, you obviously put in your institution, you find your institution, put in your details, and then what that will mean is that you can ask for push notifications. And so that will ping you every time that the things that you've requested to be pinged about happen. So that's a great way of having some interactivity, I guess, within your mobile device, if that's what you would like. So that's essentially your user settings. And from the user settings, we're going to go over to one of the big items, which is notifications. So back in, we're still in the account, but we're going to go to the very first one, notifications. And just to show you what this looks like. Okay, now you have notifications where some of them are set at account levels, like at the top account levels, but individual notifications can be changed per user, and that's for students as well as teachers. So when you get to these settings here, you can essentially go through and tick on and off the things that you do or don't want to be notified about. One of the biggest complaints that I've seen in institutions across the years that I've been teaching with Canvas is that teachers are getting too many emails from Canvas, and it actually puts them off using the system. And you don't want that to happen. You guys are the ones obviously launching Canvas in your institutions, so you want people to be on board with you. So I would educate them into how to change and put on and off their notification settings. It's a really good idea to have a recommendation as a group. So, this is the way that our school does it, or this is the way that our university does it, or our RTO does it. But just to make you aware that these can be customized, but if you at least give some sort of handout as to what you think they should be, it's going to help teachers not have too many things turned on. And to edit your different notifications, you can hover over the item to see what it is. Just to give you an idea of what that means. And then you can go to the notification preferences here. So if I was to hover over that, I get these options. I can be notified immediately that the action happens in my course or in my courses. I can be notified daily, which comes out about 6 p.m. at night. Or I can be notified weekly, which is a Sunday morning, or I can have no notifications on at all. Now, depending on what I choose, you'll see I've got a range of things switched on and off in my own courses. And so, again, it's really worth you knowing what to suggest for your staff so that they can have the right things off and on that you think would be important. Similarly, so it's great to do a sheet like that as well for your students, so that they're not pinged all the time by sort of what they will class as junk emails, but that they know what to turn off and on within their own Canvas accounts. So that takes us pretty much to the end of this section. So we've covered how Canvas will contact you. Let's move on into our communication tools and look at how different users in Canvas can contact each other. So for conversations, we're going to go and do a couple of things. The conversation tool, or the messaging tool in Canvas, is there designed to provide you communication via inbox messages to individuals or to multiple students, teachers, parents, groups of users, essentially. It looks like an email, but it's not an email. It's an internal messaging throughout the system. Let's go and take a look at what that looks like. So let's go into our global navigation menu, and we're going to go to Inbox. And this is your first glance at sort of the inbox. It does look like a bit of an email kind of UI experience. Here you see the list of mail that I've received, and the blue just means I haven't read them. So if I just count down there, it's going to take them off the things that I have read and dealt with. If I press on one, it's going to open it for me in this pane in the middle, and you can see here that a colleague has sent me a video. So this is a video message, probably a welcome to the course kind of message. This one here is, an email where a colleague has sent out to students an assignment, a PDF of an assignment. So you can send attachments, you can send different things into to students within the body of your messages. At the top, you can search through your messages, so you can look at all your courses, your favorite courses, your additional courses, or even your concluded courses. And over in Inbox, you can search by things like the unread ones, the starred ones, the sent ones, etc. To actually send a message, you're going to come over to the right-hand corner here, and you can press on Compose a New Message, which is the tool, the pencil, and a little piece of paper. You can then select who you want to send a message to. So selecting the course, again, let's go to favorite courses. I'm going to go to Bio 101. And then once I've got my course, I can select here who I want to send it to by pressing the address book. So when I press the address book, it's going to open for me everybody in that course in different groups of people. So I could look at the teachers. There's 29 people in total, but if I just wanted to message the teachers, I'll be able to see the names of the teachers here. If I go back and I want the students, I can press on and I get the option to message all students. So that's 25 people. Or I could choose individual students from my list. So I'm going to choose James, I'm going to choose Aaron, and I'm going to choose Annie. And say I want to send a message to just those 3 students, I might want to commend them maybe on their grade assignment, for example. And I want to maybe send that message individually so that they don't know who else is in that message as such. And here I could write a message. And just send something like that off to them. Or I could use these things down here, which is an attachment. So great if you're sending, say, a permission note out to students if you're in a kind of K-12 environment, or great if you're sending an assignment sheet or something like that that they really need to have. Or I could record a video. And so to press record, I just press there and it's going to open up for me my video commenting tool. So here you can see, I'm probably in duplicate on your screen now. So here you can see that I can record either by microphone or by webcam. I can upload anything I've pre-recorded as well. All right, and I'll just do a brief message, something that you might want to send out to students just to show you. Good morning. Welcome to your brand new course on biology. I'm really looking forward to getting to meet you all. My name is Mrs. Temler. I'll be taking you for this year. And our first class is on Monday, period 3. And for that class, I want you to bring blah, 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 blah. So you could do a welcome message. You know, maybe it's the start of the academic year and you want to just welcome people to your, you know, send a welcome message. You could easily do that like that in a message. So we just send that and that will go to, you know, in that case, just those students highlighted, but you can imagine you could do that for your whole class for a variety of reasons. And that sort of takes us to, I guess, the section on messages. That is, you know, all the sort of different reasons why you might use them. The media tool here in your messages is quite a big differentiator, because when you're using the messaging, the media within the messaging tool, it doesn't go towards your allocated storage space. So rather than say doing a welcome message as an announcement on your course, which don't go to your storage space, that's a great way of kind of bypassing some of that storage space, particularly if you think it's going to be tight within your institution. Okay, so that takes us through that brief element of conversations. We're going to come back to announcements in a moment, but we're going to go across to calendar. And so let's go back over and have a look at Canvas Calendar. Now, Canvas Calendar is an awesome piece of interactivity, because it's going to keep all of your, essentially all of your activities and events for 10 courses in the one place. And I stress 10 because the calendar can't sort of handle, you know, all the courses that you're enrolled in, but it takes up to 10. And I'll show you how to sort of turn those off and on. So now you can see in my calendar, I've got a few lengthy appointment schedules here for November the 12th. But you can see all my calendar spread out here for November. Let's go to December. Looks a bit blander, but we're going to set some work for December. On the right hand side, you can see, you know, I can toggle through here to look at my dates, and you can see things here where I've got due, things that are due. And you can see obviously the date that we are currently on as well. To the right hand side of that, you can see a section called calendars, and you can see that some of them are grayed out and some of them have colors next to them. The ones that are colored are the ones in which the calendar is showing in Canvas Calendar. The ones that are grayed out are ones that aren't showing. And so just a few tips here. There's not really much point in having all of your calendars switched on. Things like your sandbox, there's no point having that calendar once you've obviously used it to learn and play with and everything else like that. Once you start with your real courses, there's no real point having that calendar switched on. So my Sue Temlet sandbox is switched off because I'm not really building anything within that calendar that I need to be shown. My other course calendars, however, you know, it's important that I do have those on. And so just to give you that idea, you know, I can turn on a calendar, and then I can also turn the 3 dots at the side and choose which color I want those calendar appointments to be. And so let me turn on this one as well, and I'll just put it in a different color. Let's put that one in green. And so we're going to build an event in a moment for the course that we're currently in, and then we can see it both in the calendar and appearing here. Now, as I said, there's only 10 available, so you can see all the courses that don't show. So you just need to kind of train up your staff to be discerning about having the 10 that they need to show. And it might mean that, you know, if they have more than 10 courses, they might need to flick some off and on individually. Let's go to actually building something within the calendar. So if I click on, say, the 1st of December, I get the option to make different things within my calendar. And you can see at the moment that's purple banner. And it's a purple banner because it's defaulted to the top course in my list. If I wanted to change that to the course that that I just said that we're currently in, and select that one, so session A, teaching with Canvas, we're then going to see that it changed to the color of that particular course. And here I'm going to add in a event. I'm going to create an event, which is an excursion to the Justice and Police Museum for the course that we're about to build. And it's on the 1st of December, and it's from 9 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And the location is a museum in Sydney. So I'm just going to add all that sort of things to it. And then I'm going to put in more options to add a little bit more detail to this event. I'm then going to add, I've got some preloaded code that I'm just going to use that's going to give it more details for where it is that I want them to go. And then I can obviously, this is probably your first look actually at the rich content editor, which is this, this editor here. I'm going to give you a bit more of a demo of that when we make a page in a moment. But it's got lots of functionality in here. You could actually put, videos, link to files, upload files, that sort of thing within the body of this editor. But for now, we're going to keep it very simple, and we're just going to put create event. And that's going to take me back to the calendar, where you can now see that there is an event created for that time. And I can hover over the event and it'll show me that it is what the details of it and what course it is aligned to. So that's the first sort of thing that you might want to do in the calendar. You can also create placeholders in the calendar for assignments. So if you have an assignment, you can either build it within the body of the course, which is probably the workflow that I would recommend. But you can also build one here. It will take it into the course, and then you can flesh it out, and it will obviously appear in the calendar. The workflow is probably easier if you stay into building it into the body of your course. Another thing that's great here, though, which I do like to show people, is the way of building an appointment group. So let's go to the Wednesday, and we're going to build an appointment group. Let's just select the course that we're working in and go to build an appointment group. And so here I'm going to actually decide on, I want them to come in and do an oral presentation of assessment 2. And I'm going to locate that in the English office, and I'm going to add it to obviously the calendar that I just chose. And some of the things that I can do here are pretty cool. So we've got the date, and I'm going to put a time range in of between 9 and 11. And so what I'm essentially going to do is create appointment groups. Let's create them every 15 minutes and press go. Can you see how it's created appointment slots for me now between those times? I could remove a few if I want a break in between, like say toilet break. But I can then essentially do a couple of more things. I'm going to limit each spot to 1 user only. I'm going to limit participants to attend 1 appointment. If it was a group, I might say, the time slots are 3 students each time slot, and they have to sign up for those, that sort of thing. And basically then I can also choose to allow students to see who's signed up, which is great maybe for university if they're sharing lifts with each other, that sort of thing. And then I can put a few details in here. So please choose there you go, and press publish. And now if you have a look at the 2nd of December, you'll see that it's split into appointment times. They're currently grayed out. So if I click on one, you can see that no one has actually picked that time. But what will happen when somebody picks one of them, it will actually then go bold and it will say who has allocated to come at that time. And I'll be able to see, that it's no longer unreserved. It is actually reserved to a particular participant. And so that's a great way of being able to essentially, add self-sign up ways of being able to see students and get them to come and organise their time with you. Now we're just going to pause there and I'm going to put a quick poll on screen, a quick Zoom poll. now that you've had a quick demo of the Canvas calendar, I'd like you to pick all the ones that apply to you about how you might use the Canvas calendar. And so I'm just going to give you 1 minute to vote. And there's 14 of us on the call. So just a minute or so to have a look. And I'll just I'll just mute whilst you do that. All right, well, we've got 92% voted. This hardly ever happens. And we'll just give it 1 more second. Let's see if we can get 100. Okay, I'll end the poll and just share those results with you. Oh, we got 14 out of 14, perfect. Okay, so this just gives you an indication of what your colleagues are also thinking, you know, obviously some from your institution, some from the other people on the call, but the things that they're most excited about in terms of the choices within Canvas calendar. So yeah, being able to actually sync the calendar, creating detailed events, good winners there, and then obviously organizing, creating appointment groups and making placeholder assignments. Now I'm going to show you how to make placeholder assignments within the body of your course in a moment. And so that's probably the workflow that most of you will do. Let's go back to our agenda just to make sure we're keeping on track. As I said, we're going to do announcements in a moment. I hope you're sticking with me. We're sort of halfway through the time, which is perfect. And we're going to come down here into Canvas, into the modules. And what we're going to do, is go to our module view here, and we're going to build a module, add a file, and create a page from that. And we're actually going to create more items than just a page because I think we've got enough time to do that. But we're going to start fleshing out a course. And so let's go into a blank course so that it kind of looks like it will do for you. And we're going to pick the course we've just been working on. And so we're going to go into Teaching with Canvas here. So you click on your course, and this is what you'll have a look at the first time that you see. You'll have essentially a blank canvas to start with. You'll see a couple of things that we just built. So for example, here you can see the excursion to the Justice and Police Museum that we just put in. And if I was to press view calendar from this course, we'd also see the appointment slots, obviously for the 2nd of December that we were just looking at. What we want to do now is create this new, create our course. And I want to show you how quickly it is to do that because it is a very kind of fast, it can be quite fast in order to stop that looking like such a blank canvas. We're going to create a new module, and you can do that by pressing here or pressing here. But we'll press here for this one. And we're going to add a module name into that. And so I'm going to add in, first of all, crime writing, press another module. Then I'm going to add in film studies. And then I'm going to add in another module for poetry. And I'll just give you a bit of context for the course that I'm thinking of creating here. So as I said, I've been a high school English teacher for 19 odd years now. And so in my context, I'm thinking I'm going to create a course for Year 10 English. And so I'm going to flesh out 3 terms worth of work under these particular headings. And what we're going to do in the actual call today is build some material under the 1st term's worth of work under crime writing. So just try and sort of picture this maybe like a 15, 16-year-old student in high school, and that's where we're going to be pitching the things that we make here. Now I'm structuring my modules by term. You can structure your modules by terms, by units. Some people are doing them by weeks. Some people do them by units of competency. So there's loads of different ways of structuring your units. So you might be unit 1, unit 2, it might be week 1, week 2. There's lots of different ways. It'll essentially do exactly the same thing. A module is just a meaningful way in which to organize and sequence your content. So as I said, that could be units, topics, weeks, subjects. For primary schools, often we have one course, for year 3, and then we have a module on maths, science, English, art, that kind of thing. So I just want to pause there and actually get you to think about how might you structure your modules. So there's 4 choices here, and this is actually just a multiple choice. So just have a think about what might work for you in terms of your module structure, and I'll just press. Okay, pretty overwhelming so far that you're going by topics. I'll just give you 10 more seconds. Okay, I'm just going to share those results with you. So overwhelming, 75% would be going by topics, and that's going to, I guess, be fairly helpful for the training today, because you'll be able to see what it's like when you are structuring essentially by topics in the way that we're going to do now. Okay, so with that by topic structure, we are going to carry on what we're creating here, and we're going to add a lot of things to this first module. And so I'm going to add a number of placeholders that Connie will continue to flesh out with you tomorrow. Some of them I'll do with you today, but some of them Connie will do tomorrow. One of the easiest things that you can do is add files to a module. So you might want to put files in, and these might just be for students to literally view and just quickly access, essentially. And so what does that look like? The quickest way to add files is to press here. And that's going to open up your own sort of file area, your own desktop. And I'm just going to find some of the files that I want to add on. Okay, so I'm just going to simply press, and it's going to upload. And you can do that with multiple files. If you want to change the title at all, so it doesn't say have that PDF on it, or you might want to add in something like compulsory reading. I'm going to spell that right for you. Something like that would be easy to add in multiple files in that way. The other way to do it, so not with files, but the other way to do the other things is to press the plus sign here. And here you get the option to add what we call items to your module. Your module items can be viewed by pressing down on this arrow here, and they are as follows. There are assignments, quiz, file, page, discussions, text headers, external URLs, or an external tool such as Studio. And we're going to do a placeholder for each thing in turn. So for an assignment, we're going to press new assignment, and I'm going to give it a title, which is analysing the opening of the class novel, The Lovely Bones. Let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see these building. And we're going to repeat the process, but this time for a quiz. And we're going to press new quiz and give it a name, literary terminology, add the quiz. So these are just placeholders. They're not the actual thing as such. They're just holding the place that we're going to fill in tomorrow. We've got the new file, sorry, we'll go to page, new page, And I'm going to do a welcome page to welcome to crime writing to kick off the unit. Now we'll do a discussion, new topic on discussion. And for this one, we're going to do you like the opening of this novel, The Lovely Bones, that we're reading? And then I'm going to put in a few text headers. So text headers I'm going to use to break my units of work up. So my unit of work up, sorry. So let me put in a couple of these. And maybe I'll put in a few more. Week 1, week 2, you know, you can imagine a 10-week term in Australian schools. You might need a few of these to actually help organize your content a little bit more. I'm also going to put in a external URL. Let me just find an external URL. Here's one I had earlier. And this one, I'm going to rename it. And for an external URL, I often like pressing to load in a new tab, particularly for younger students. I think if they start loading it in a new tab, it's really great to have like Canvas open in the point that they were at, and then the other thing in another tab, so they don't lose that flow of where exactly they were in Canvas when they're negotiating the activities in the other tab. So, you know, just personal preference. But that essentially is going to help me build out all the things that I want to use and I want to use to create this first unit. Now what I want to do is organize that a bit better, because as you can see, my welcome page is down the 4th item. It needs to be the top item, that sort of thing. And so what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take my crime fiction unit to the top, my crime fiction text header to the top. And you can do this by just hovering over the thing and dragging it. I'm going to take week 1 to the top. And then I'm going to take welcome to crime writing to the top as well. And I'm going to indent it. So over here in the 3 buttons, you can press increase indent, and it's going to bring the work a little bit further over than the text headers, which are going to be flush to the module side. I'm also going to bring that film education thing up to the top. I'm going to increase the indent of that. And then for week 2, I'm going to actually bring in the discussion post. I'm going to bring in the assignment, and we'll put that compulsory reading kind of up here a little bit as well. So you can see how you can just start indenting and moving over the body of your unit a little bit more, so that you can have a nice flow beginning to create. Okay, so that's sort of, we'll just do that in that order. That's fairly great for what we need for our purposes. And then now that we've organized that unit, I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up into publishing. And so what you can see here is that one of them has got a green tick, but nothing else. And so just to let you know, in terms of publishing course content, there are 3 levels of publishing that you need to be aware of. First of all, there is the publishing of the course. So this is over in the top right-hand corner. This course is currently unpublished. If I was to publish it, because I've got students enrolled in it, I want them to see things. If I was to publish it, it would be putting on that publish sign there, and then it will go green. Students can access the course once it's published. And what you might want to do at that point is to actually unpublish and publish content as it suits you in terms of the way you want to release content. Some people like to release content all in one go. And so they would just press here, publish the module, and you can see everything releases in the module underneath when you publish a module at a time. You can see here that these modules are unpublished. So if I was to switch into student view, which I can do by going to the right-hand side over here and pressing student view, I'd be able to act as a student. So our student view allows anybody, any teacher or admin, to actually see what a student sees. So it's like a practice run, And it's really good to be able to put student view on when you've made anything or when you want to test something, just to see whether it looks like the way you're thinking it should look like for students. So you can see here that if now in student view, they can see all this material, but they can't see the next 2 units because they remain unpublished. Now, what I might want to do is actually only show my students week 1. Because I might think, okay, I don't want them knowing what's coming. I just want them to deal with these 3 things first. And next week, I'm going to release the next things. So if I was to do that, then I could just take off these things. Let's have a look again in student view. You'll see now that they're only presented the first few bits of work. Now, that's really going to depend on your personal preference or even on your institution's preference. But the idea there is that, it's very much down to how much you believe your students can handle at one time, how much you need to remember to publish things, and that sort of thing. So just to let you know, there are those different levels of publishing. So there's the course, the module, and then the individual item within the module. Now, for our purposes, we're going to publish it all so we can work with it all. But that's kind of like just to let you know what publishing is all about. Now, what we're going to do is actually flesh out this first page here. So welcome to crime writing. We're going to flesh that out, and tomorrow Connie's going to continue with you to flesh out the other material here. But we're going to press on that welcome page to crime writing, and I'm going to talk you through in more depth the rich content editor. So you'll see now a totally unpublished, like a totally unfleshed out page. It's just the title. So let's go to the right hand side and press edit. And when we're in edit, now you're going to have your first look at the rich content editor. So the rich content editor, just to give you sort of an overview of it, it is where you can do all the normal things that you could do in an editing suite. But because it's rich content, it's not just about changing, the sort of things that you would do in Word or Pages. It's actually being able to add in anything like video, images, audio files, links to external sources, LTIs, embedding material, creating formulas, lots of things like that are what's possible in the rich content editor. So I'm just going to put a bit of text in to essentially help us have something to edit. And I'm going to add a few things that I would like to work with in here. So this is like, welcome to the class. This is what we're going to be studying. Our first class, our class novel is, and maybe at that point I want to bold what the class novel is, that sort of thing. You can see very simply, I've got some things for them to tell them. And what I want to do here is add in an image. So in this part of the rich content editor, between these sort of lines here, are things that are more, I guess, rich than the other aspects. So here you might want to add in an image by pressing this tool here. And when you press on that, it's going to ask you to either upload an image, search Unsplash, or put in an URL. Now I'm going to go to Unsplash, and just to let you know what Unsplash is. Unsplash is our built-in repository of images where Canvas has already dealt with all the copyright issues. So you can use Unsplash to your heart's content without having to worry about whether or not you need to, cite image use or anything like that. So I'm just going to look for an image now to do with crime. Hopefully nothing that's too sort of violent for my year 10 audience. And let's have, let's choose the handcuffs, so let's put those in. And incidentally, if I want to make my rich content editor larger, I can make it full screen in this way, or I can actually stretch it as well on my current page if I want to. So now I've got this image, but it's pretty huge. So let's just click on it and go to image options. And here I can actually change the size of it if I want to. So I want to make this one medium. You'll see that's obviously just shrunk it and put it a little bit more usable for me. Now, at the moment, it's probably, it's an okay welcome page. Maybe I want to do a little bit more. So maybe in this gap here, I would like to, perhaps add a link to, maybe a film adaptation of the novel, that sort of thing. So I might want to maybe put in, actually, let's put it down here. Let's put an optional task in down here as looking at the film version of the trailer. So let's, try and get them a bit more excited about the novel. To search YouTube, because YouTube's is a built-in LTI, I can either put a link in, or I can actually press down here, which is my app tool, my plugins. So that's why it looks like a little bit like an electricity plug. Go to YouTube. And here, because it's built in, I'm able to search YouTube from here. So I can actually put in the links, or I can put in some details to search by. And there's the trailer. Now I can press embed. It's the video that I want. You'll see that will embed it directly into the page for me. Lastly, I might want to just also add in a personal message to my students. So let's, maybe I want to do a video recording even of, something to do, going through one of the worksheets or something like that. To do that, I would press this media tool, and then I would press upload or record media. And this is going to look very similar to what I just showed you in the inbox messages. So press record. It's going to open me up there and there again for you. Let's start the recording. Our class novel is going to be The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. Although this is quite a violent story, the way that it's constructed is so unique. Even the first sentence starts in a way in which I've never read for another crime fiction novel. The first part of our work this week is going to be analysing that opening. And so let's take a good deep dive into that first chapter as we go through the remainder of the work for this week. Something like that. And then that's just going to tell my students, obviously, some things about what's going on in the week. So that's a way of obviously sort of fleshing out, say a welcome page in that way. I'm sure you've got plenty of ideas of your own that you can do. And we're going to press save to get that page off the ground. Now, what that looks like for students, obviously a range of activities for them to do, some things to watch, some things to interact with, and just some information as well in terms of that welcome page. All right, let's go back to our agenda. And we're still here. We've built that module, but we've done more than just create a page. We've actually added a file. We've added a placeholder for, the quiz, for an assignment, for an external URL. We've put text headers in. We've got plenty of things that we've done within the body of our module. And as I said, Connie will flesh out a bit the rest of that with you tomorrow. We're now going to go back to our course, and we'll go back to the module by pressing the module view. And there's a few things that I want to show you now under course settings. So this is obviously what it looks like for at the moment, and what it looks like for a student too, in that student view that I showed you. What I want to concentrate on now is some of the things that you can do within settings. And before I get there, I want you to just take a good long look at what we call the course navigation menu. So remember, this is the global navigation bar, or the global navigation menu. Here we have the course navigation menu. And can you see just how long it is? There's a good chance that your students will never need to have that much information or links in there. And so I'm going to show you some things to do now about streamlining that navigation menu. Let's press on settings. And we're going to do a couple of things here in settings. First of all, we're going to choose that image. You know how I said earlier on when we were changing the, when we were in the dashboard and I was changing the overlay color. Well, this course doesn't have an image at the moment. So this one would be one where I could easily change that sort of, the solid color. but we're going to add an image to it so that, you know, just makes that course card look a little bit more engaging for students. So we're going to choose an image, and again, I can upload one. So you might have some that you've made at home, or you might want to search Unsplash. Now this is a Year 10 English course, so let's have a look what happens if I search English. Oh, it's going to give me the English flag and things like that, but it's also going to give me some different aspects to choose from, and then some very English things like Stonehenge. Let's choose that one there with the post-it notes. Okay, and so now you see that that's actually attached that to my course. Here are some of the different details that I could change if I needed to. And I want to just show you one thing that's actually jumping ahead to the announcements section. But just whilst we're here, I want to show you what to do. Can you see right at the bottom, there is a bit that says more options. When I press on more options, it's going to allow me to choose some things to do with announcements. And it's this one that I want you to tick, or to think about whether you want to tick within your own courses. If you tick this one on, it's going to allow for students to be able to view the announcements as a banner at the top of their course home page. And that's really good for announcements, because it's going to allow students to be able to just, I guess, be hit by the announcement when they first log into your course. If you don't have that on, they'll have to search for the announcements in the announcements section of the course navigation menu. And that's, I mean, that's fine, but it might not be as obvious to them that there's a course announcement. So you can have this one ticked on. It's off by default, so good to put it back on. And then you can choose up to 15 showing at a time. 3 tends to be a nice sort of number. And then there's a few other things that you might want to vary and might want to have a look at down there. We're going to update the course details just to save what we have done. And that takes us into there. And then we're going to go across to the course navigation here. And so we've done course image. This is course navigation. You can see here that there is an awful long list of things that replicate one by one all the course navigation menu here. What you might want to decide is to streamline that list for your students. And so, you know, if they are never going to use, you know, they don't need to see new analytics, for example, then move it underneath this line here to drag items to hide from your students. So for example, I would normally leave the home page, the announcements. I'd actually often take away assignments, because I'm going to present them their assignments in the body of the in the modules. So I tend to present all my work in module view, and so my students don't need to have access to these in this way. So I'll pull down anything I think they don't need access to. Again, files, pages, all of that, I'm going to present them in the module view. And they don't need to see outcomes or rubrics. They do need modules. So modules is going to go high up on my list. They, of course, need marks, because they're going to want to be able to click on what their marks are. Quizzes, they don't need. I'm going to present that in the module view. Conferences, collaborations, studio, Office 365, you know, that sort of thing. I might want to leave Office 365 actually, or your Google Drive or anything like that you've got. And so that's essentially my new list. And so I'm going to press save now, and it will reorganize things here. Let's now go to student view over the right hand side and see what that looks like now for students. Can you see how clean and crisp that is for students? They're not going to be spending a while going down a whole list of things trying to find what they need. Obviously, it doesn't mean they can't do quizzes and they can't do assignments. It just means that they'll be given them in my classes from the body of the course here. So I'm going to just leave student view now. That's kind of like an idea of course navigation. You may want to think about whether or not you streamline that. I'm just going to ask what you think with a quick poll. All right, I'll just send that poll there. Most of you would streamline your navigations. And then some of you obviously will think about what your organization best prefers. I think it's such a great thing to do. Obviously, yeah, seek direction from your organization. But it's so great for students to not have to find everything and click on a whole heap of a long list, that sort of thing. All right, now we're also going to go, we're going to create a quick announcement now. And so to create an announcement, you can do it in two ways. You can either press here to announcements, or you can press over here and make a new announcement. Either way works perfectly well. I'm going to create just a really brief announcement, which is just going to be a reminder to my students about bringing in their class novel, essentially. So let's just put one on. This is just saying, remember, you need to bring in the novel, The Lovely Bones, to class tomorrow. Maybe I might want to make the announcement, the text a bit bigger, and again, maybe I want to do an external link, so if you haven't, perhaps I would like to say, if you haven't already bought the book, this is what it looks like, link to the site, that sort of thing. But yeah, the variety of things I can do. I've got the rich content editor, so I can do loads of different things if I need to. Now, just a heads up, when you do an announcement, if you've got multiple people in your course, you can choose to post an announcement to just your section, to all of the course, or to somebody else's section. So if you remember from your admin training, or for those of you who weren't involved in admin training, a actual section in a course is where you have split the course into, like class 1 and class 2. So I'll give you, for instance, maybe you've got a year 7 technology teacher, and that he has 3 technology classes, because they're obviously not used too much on the timetable. Maybe out of those 3 classes, he wants just one course, but he wants all of his classes in the one course. But sometimes he wants to set work just to one section, or set an announcement to one section. And so he could do an announcement like this and just set it to, say, section C or section D or class 1 or class 2, however you would code them. What he can't do is set it to individual students in the same way, say like an inbox, you can send individual messages to a student. Announcements you can only send to all of the people in the course, or to split up into sections. With an announcement, you can choose to attach a file. So let's pretend that this announcement was actually about an excursion. And I was just announcing that, I've finally booked the excursion. It's going to be in a couple of weeks. Here's the permission note. That kind of thing would work really well. I might want to do a few options with actually deciding on when I want to actually post my announcement. So if, for example, so I still teach online using Canvas, and I often do my classwork on a Thursday. I get it ready, but then I delay my announcements until Monday morning, so it's for the next week. So you might press plus and then post at, and then decide the date. I want to post it on the 30th at 9 in the morning. So just a way of sort of setting yourself up ahead of time, and to actually decide, a different time and place for when you want to post the message. I won't put that on now though, because I want you to see what it looks like. You can allow users to comment. You can allow people to like, so if, for example, if you allow them to comment on your message, it might be that creates a little bit of a discussion between students if they need any help or anything, they don't understand certain things about the announcement. I'm going to press save. And do you recall that we said that the announcement was going to appear at the top of the home page? Let's press the home page, and you should see now that it comes out at the top. And so until a student has read that, let's go to student view. Until a student has actually read that, and it goes blue, that's going to stay at the top of their page until they've actually clicked on it and read it. Can you see in the student to-do list as well? Because there's an announcement, it also appears in the student to-do list as something that they need to engage with. Now, just zoom back to the agenda. We're in this, we've sort of come here and here now. So in course settings, we did image, navigation, student view. We've also now gone to announcements, center course announcement, and the display on the home page. At this point here, I want to talk to you about what it is to choose a home page. And I'm just going to jump in and out of some different courses to show you. So at the moment, my home page for this unit, for this course, sorry, this year 10 course, is my module view. So if I go to choose home page on the right-hand side, you'll see that I have a few options. I can choose to have my home page as the course activity stream, which is, you know, all the things that are going on in the course. That could be my home page. I can choose to have it as a modules view, which it currently is. I could choose to have it as the list of assignments, or even a syllabus view. And the syllabus view is worth exploring. And the syllabus view, you can obviously customize the page a little bit, but then the syllabus view helps students to see all the things that are due coming up and been set in their course. You can also, of course, choose to have a page, just like we built earlier, the welcome page. You could choose to build a page that is your course home page. And in that, you might have a multitude of different images that are clickable, you know, so dynamic images that you click on, and then they take you to the different modules. So you can link images to a module and they can bounce in and out through the modules in different ways. Now I'll show you some examples in some of the courses I've got. So let me just go to my dashboard. I'm going to show you 3 examples. So one is from a English course. This one is using the syllabus view, and it's got a box at the top with images in. And if I was to click on one of those, it would take me to the module that it's referring to. Okay, so that's the module. If I go back to home, which is, as I said, the syllabus view, I've got the interactive links here. I've got some information about the course. For anyone on the call who is a teacher in New South Wales, I've got my scope and sequence linked in, and I've got my assessment grid. And this is the course summary. So when things get due in the course, this is automatically populated because it's in syllabus view, and that's automatically populated for students to keep track of, essentially. So that's using the syllabus view as your home page. Another way of doing it is to create an actual home page, which it could be like this one, Biology 101. And so it's got images. Again, you can press on the images and they'll take you to different parts of the course. And here it's got a table of view of different units, and you can click on these units to take you to the module view of that unit. I'll show you how we're doing for time. I'll show you 2 more. This is a primary school example, and these are from the templates that you are able to choose from, that you'll see that you've been sort of mentioned in your admin training. This home page is actually a page. It's got a customizable banner, and this is for a sort of year 3 class. And so they would press on each one of these to take them to an area of their course. So if they would press on learn, for example, that takes them to their literacy one, and they'd be able to scroll down their art one, etc. From there. And the final one I want to take you to is a professional learning one. So this is a professional learning course. And in this one, it's just essentially a table. The home page is a table. Each one is linked to a part of the course. And so staff would click in and out as they have to take part in different aspects of the course. So that's a kind of overview of different possibilities. I want to take you back to the dashboard now, and we'll go back to our course. And just to reiterate, ours is in that home page mode where we're on course modules. So when a student logs in, they're just going to be taken directly to the modules. No sort of overlaying home page, but directly to the module, and it will talk them through the different aspects. Okay, so we've talked about home pages, we've talked about announcements, and essentially now what we're going to go into as our final section is analytics. So in our agenda, we're over here on the final aspect, about 10 minutes to go. I'm going to show you what course analytics and student analytics look like. And to do that, I'm going to use a bit more of a fleshed out course where we have students involved. Because in my course analytics, if I went to new analytics and the one that we've just built, there's nothing really to see because there's no students essentially in our course here. So let's go to our Biology 101 course. And in here, there is a few more things to show you. And so we've got students interacting in this course. And I'm going to take you over to the right-hand side down to our new analytics engine here. Okay, so in this analytics engine, I want to point out a few different things. Please just try and click on things because you'll be amazed at what is actually interactive and what opens when you just sort of have a click through. So as you start to build, as you start to get information from students and interactivity from students building, you'll be able to select different things. In the analytics, you can select that it's all sections, or you can actually just have a look at particular students as well and see how they're going against the wider body of your course. You can have a look at the course grade, which is here. And to do that, you can have a look at all the different assignments that are, so here we've got assignments ticked on and quizzes. And so you can have a look at the different things that have been set to students along the bottom. Let's press on, say, the first one. And you can see that that's a high, fairly high bracket. If we press onto it, it's actually going to open up a course tray at the side and tell me some details of that particular assignment. So I can see here the, the average grade, low, high, that sort of thing. I can also message students from here. So, say, for example, I had a number of students who were at that low section. I could choose a range that I wanted to message to. And type in a message and it would only go to particular students. That's from score range. Maybe I could type in who's missing or any students who are late, and it will select those students for me automatically. Now, if I wanted to maybe add on something to see how a student was going, let me choose a student to add into here. Who's a good one to look at? Let's have a look at how Annie's going. Oh, that was a good choice. So Annie got 100 out of 100 for her first assignment. So I could press on Annie's score. I can see her particular grade here. I can see that she was on time for it. And if I click on Annie herself, I can open up information about Annie specifically across all of her assignments and all of her weekly activity. If I scroll back to a time when she was a bit more active, I can see some activity and any communication that I've had with her or any communication that she has in fact had with me. And so that's having a look at a student in specifically, but here I can see how she's tracking against the entire class. I can also change this view by going over here. At the moment I'm in shapes, but I could display it as a table. So I can see that kind of grid view. I'll go back to shapes because I think it's nicer for display purposes. And let's have a look. If I keep that on board and we go to weekly online activity for both all of the cohort and for Annie, and let's find an opportunity to have a look at when there was a bit more interaction in the course. So let's have a look at this September time here. I can see here that, Annie's about as much involved as other people. She did a bit more work over here, but on average she's kind of as involved as anybody in the course. So that gives me a few things between course grade and weekly online activity. As I said, I can look at particular students. So here I selected Annie. If I take her off, it's going to show me all of the students and information about all of their levels of participation, what they viewed last, how many times they viewed things. And so in terms of like reporting or, seeing how a student is tracking in your course, that kind of, this kind of detail is important for that sort of data informed teaching. Then I can also pull off reports. So I'd be able to look at reports of anyone who was late or missing and obviously maybe compare and look for trends there. Or I could see course activity, so various different things you can pull off this analytics engine here. There is, of course, further analytics that you can have a look at with quizzes. And so Connie will show you some of those quiz analytics tomorrow. And yeah, just a range of different things that I just encourage you to, you know, have a click, have a mess around with and see what you can find out. This final thing to show you is message students who. So again, you can choose what you want to message students based on the data for anything. And that's something, again, that Connie will show you in more depth in the gradebook tomorrow, because you can message students via the gradebook for individual items of assignments and assessments that they have done. Lastly, you can download CSVs of information from the analytics engine as well. Okay, and that essentially concludes our Fundamentals 1 training. And so I just want to give you a heads up of some of the things that are going to happen now. So I'm just going to put the attendance in the chat for anyone who was late and obviously can't see the back of the chat. But there are a number of things that will happen within the course that you have been enrolled in, the Launching Awesome with Canvas course. So the link to this recording will get put there as soon as I receive it from Zoom. And so you'll be able to access it and send it around your institutions if you need to. We also obviously value feedback. So there is a link to this form within the body of the course. And so if you've got any feedback on anybody, then it was worthwhile putting them into the experience that you've had. Logging their attendance and logging that feedback is probably the final thing to just reiterate. And before you go, and before we finally finish, I want to just scan, whilst people are doing those attendance, I just want to launch this final poll and ask you, what are you most excited about in terms of things that you have seen from Fundamentals 1? And this one is to select top 3 features that you think you're going to go away and explore pretty rapidly. Thank you, Annie. That's great. Difficult to choose the top 3. All of them are exciting. I'll give you one more moment with that. I'll just end that there. I'll just share the results with you for the final time. You can see, obviously, most people are gravitating towards the modules and being able to use those, as I said, to organize your content, organize your teaching materials. You know, that's often a winner when we do this poll. So great to see you essentially going through there. And I will just stop sharing the screen now and finish recording.